Even Google Translate could do your job, he said without looking up from his tablet. The words didn't land. They stabbed. I nodded once. My name is Daniel, 49 years old, senior technical translator, 12 years with Glenton Dynamics. 3 languages, high security clearance, no disciplinary file, no errors logged, not one. The new CEO was young, slick haircut, slim suit, MBA confidence dripping off every sentence. His watch was worth more than my monthly salary, and he wore it like a trophy. The HR reps flanking him stayed quiet. Their body language said it all. We don't make decisions. We just deliver them. The room was silent except for the hum of the AC. The blinds were half drawn. Dust floated in a perfect diagonal beam of sunlight across the polished table. He slid the envelope toward me with a lazy flick of the wrist. We're streamlining. You understand? I looked at the envelope. Didn't touch it. I mean, it's not like we need full-time translators anymore. The software is pretty advanced now. He finally looked up, smiling, like he'd just done me a favor. I picked up the envelope without a word. It was light. Too light. Like it didn't even contain a person's career. I placed it in my bag, closed my leather notebook. The same one I used in every negotiation, every call, every technical session where they needed precision. Truth is, they never understood what I did. Only that things ran smoother when I was in the room. I adjusted the strap over my shoulder. The leather creaked faintly, a detail he didn't notice, but I did. Then I stood. No one moved. No one spoke. The HR rep on the left shifted in her chair, then looked back down. Before I turned to leave, I met his eyes. Good luck on Monday. He smirked. Thought I was being professional. I stepped out into the hallway, walked past the glass walls where small teams were already pretending not to notice. Some glanced up, then quickly looked away. The same people who used to email me in a taoi panic when a single character derailed an entire contract. The same ones who relied on me when words mattered. The air outside the meeting room was cooler, quieter. I passed the translation division. The sign still read, Linguistic Integrity Department, a name I'd helped propose, back when the company still believed words had weight. My office door was cracked open, empty. Everything had been cleared, except one thing. A black lacquered nameplate with my name in kanji. A gift. It sat precisely centered on the desk, untouched. I took it, slid it into the side pocket of my bag. The building felt different on the way out. Or maybe I was just seeing it differently. At the end of the floor, I stopped in front of the restricted terminal room. Badge access only. No one was watching. I pressed my thumb to the hidden biometric reader beneath the frame. It lit green. Access still live. They'd removed me from payroll, but not from the system. I didn't log in. Not yet. I just noted the oversight. A mental note. Nothing more. Downstairs, I waited for the elevator. The mirrored doors opened without a sound. I stepped in alone, pressed G. The descent was silent. No announcements, no elevator music, just the faint buzz of electricity behind the panel. On the ground floor, I passed the reception desk. The security guard nodded. Habit, maybe. Recognition, probably. Respect, possibly. Returned it with a small tilt of my head. The kind men understand without words. Outside, the wind hit sharp. The kind of wind that carries warning in its teeth. Late autumn, early intent. I paused beneath the awning. Pulled out my phone. Opened the encrypted mail app. Typed one sentence to Mr. Takahashi. I won't be at the meeting, but my ears will be. I pressed send. Pocketed the phone. Across the street, the company's new marketing banner flickered above the glass lobby. Tomorrow, translated. Below it, 3 younger employees laughed as they walked into the building. One of them was wearing the Glenton badge like it was something earned. I turned away, walked toward the corner. Didn't rush. Didn't look back. Not yet. Most days, I got to the office before the lights were on. Not because anyone asked me to, just habit. 12 years of routine doesn't break itself. By 7:20, the halls were quiet, coffee still brewing, and the building had that half-lit calm only the early. No, that's when I reviewed documents, contract drafts, technical specs, translation threads flagged for ambiguity. I never rushed. My job wasn't just words, it was context, weight, meaning. No one ever noticed when I fixed things before they broke. They only noticed when I wasn't there. Most people assumed translation was about matching words. It wasn't. It was about catching the difference between what was said and what was meant, especially with clients like Takahashi-san. We met during a procurement negotiation in Osaka. First week, he refused to speak English. Second week, he refused to speak at all. By week 3, he'd only ask for me. Not because I was impressive, because I was precise. Every engineer in that room knew I wasn't guessing. That mattered. Back in the States, I kept a low profile. Didn't socialize much. Didn't play the politics. But I always stayed late when logistics needed review before a call with Seoul. I always adjusted glossaries overnight before an R&D launch in Kyoto. And when the CFO wanted to pitch localization as automation ready, I was the one who quietly added a footnote about contract risk. No one thanked me. That wasn't the point. There was a rhythm to my day. Quiet, deliberate, grounded. I kept notes by hand, memorized clause patterns, kept a folder of mistranslations that had once cost other firms millions, not as a warning, just as a reminder. People came and went. Executives rotated. New hires brought their optimism and ergonomic keyboards. I trained most of them. One of them was Jonas, young, bright, nervous around clients. He'd knock on my door 3 times in a row, always 3, never 2, never 4. He asked questions. Others were afraid to. Daniel, how do you handle layered modifiers and patent clauses? Daniel, is it true Japanese contracts avoid first-person statements? I never said no. Never turned him away. He reminded me of who I was when I started. Curious. Uncertain, committed. He once called me the quiet firewall. Said it like it was a compliment. That stuck. Then the leadership changed. The new CEO arrived with buzzwords in a briefcase. Talked about disruption, velocity, AI-leveraged deliverables. He called the language department non-revenue overhead. In his first week, he never asked what I actually did. He introduced himself by asking if I had an exit strategy. The first signs came quietly. My name was left off internal updates. I was replaced in planning calls by language solutions specialists with LinkedIn buzz. Jonas came by my office one afternoon, confused. Did they change your title? I shrugged. No one said anything. But the team briefs aren't looping you in. I told him not to worry. Told myself the same. That Friday, the company hosted a networking event on the 10th floor. I didn't go. I stayed in my office reviewing export forms for a drone component being sold overseas. The clause regarding dual-use technologies was mistranslated, almost dangerously so. I corrected it, logged it, sent it up the chain, never heard back. 2 weeks later, the door to my office had a new nameplate under mine. Language Systems Automation Advisor. Jonas asked if I was training someone new. No, I said. They're testing replacements. He looked down. They won't find one. I didn't answer, because I wasn't sure they cared. Then came the announcement. Glenton would host its largest negotiation yet with the Japanese defense partners, Monday, 9 a.m., high stakes, final round. I asked who'd be handling interpretation. They said, the system's ready. System, not a person, not a team, not a translator, just software. Didn't argue, didn't protest, didn't offer to help, because by then I understood. I wasn't being replaced, I was being erased. The Monday after they reassigned my title, my inbox was empty. Not cleared, not deleted, empty. No briefings, no requests, no threads with my name attached. It wasn't a mistake. It was erasure. At 9:12 a.m., I walked past a conference room. My chair was occupied by someone else, a new hire with a headset. I kept walking. By Wednesday, I couldn't access the secure glossary system, the one I'd helped build. Thursday, the server logs no longer accepted my credentials. My badge still worked at the elevator, but not the language lab. Jonas noticed. "Daniel," he said quietly near the break room. "Did you approve those changes in the patent flow?" I looked at him. "What changes?" He blinked. They said the legal phrasing was streamlined. Streamlined. I nodded once, didn't ask who they was. That same afternoon, a team call went live on the open floor. The new CEO was speaking. Loud, fast, too confident. "So with our new AI-assisted linguistics platform, we've eliminated all redundancy. No more bloated processes. Translation, localization, negotiation, automated from end to end." Looked straight at the camera. "We've cut turnaround by 64%, someone clapped. I didn't. That evening, I walked past my old office. The door was closed. A sign had been taped to the glass. System calibration in progress. Inside, the monitors were running test cycles. Translation software blinking like a toy. The kanji on screen was wrong, not just grammatically. Culturally, there was no one inside to correct it. Friday, I received my final pay stub via email. No explanation, just a breakdown of severance and unused leave. My benefits had been converted into a flexible exit support package. They didn't ask for my input, just pushed it through. The number didn't matter. It was never about the money. It was about being replaced by a program that didn't understand the difference between formality and trust, between syntax and subtext, between language and loyalty. I checked the internal system one last time. The Monday meeting with Takahashi's team was still on. 4 senior executives from Tokyo, 0 human translators listed, 0 cultural liaisons. The AI was tagged as primary interface. That night I sat in my apartment with the lights off, laptop open, quiet classical playing through an old speaker. I pulled up a message I'd received 2 years earlier. Subject line, "Only Daniel-san." It was a reply from Takahashi after we closed a delicate licensing deal. His message had been short, respectful, clear. "The others speak Japanese. You understand it?" I remembered that line now. The weight of it, what it meant. Not just fluency, respect, relationship, precision. I didn't delete the message. I archived it. Saturday morning, I walked into the city. Cool wind. Leaves scattered in gutters. I stopped by a cafe I hadn't been to in months. Sat by the window. Ordered nothing. Watched people come and go. On my phone, I reviewed the announcement for Monday's meeting. There was one name listed I didn't recognize. C. Reese, AI Integration Specialist. I looked up his internal profile. 24. 2 certifications. No Japanese. He'd given a talk recently at a tech forum. I found the recording. He ended his presentation with a slide that said, "Language is just code. Everything can be taught." I watched that slide for a long time. Then I closed the video. On Sunday, I logged into the legacy terminal remotely, one of the few still outside the autosync protocol. They hadn't revoked my contingency credentials. Buried in the system logs, I checked the prep files for the upcoming meeting, translation samples, auto-generated greetings, cultural indicators, glossary alignments. There were mistakes, obvious ones. They'd translated negotiation window as glass window for talking. Mutual benefit had been rendered as shared advantage, to be exploited. And Takahashi's name had been auto-formatted in the Western order. First name first, a small insult, but a loud one. I didn't fix the files. I didn't say anything. I just watched them stack the kindling. Monday morning, 8:54 a.m. I was already logged in. Not to the meeting, not officially, but I'd configured a private relay node years ago. A quiet backup line for audio transcription testing, never decommissioned, never documented. They thought it was part of the old diagnostics suite. It wasn't. At 9:02, the meeting started. Video on. 4 executives from Tokyo joined the call. Mr. Takahashi among them, stoic as ever, suit flawless, silence measured. On our side, the CEO, 2 VPs, and the integration specialist, C. Reese. No translators, no liaisons, just software. The CEO began with a scripted welcome, read from a prompter smooth but sterile. Takahashi didn't respond. Instead, he turned to his right and spoke in Japanese. Fluent, formal, fast. The software stuttered, delayed, translated half the sentence before, switching structure midstream. Reese glanced at the screen, confused. Takahashi continued, unbothered. The second executive added a remark, this time in a regional dialect. The software faltered again. Garbled syntax. Incorrect honorifics. The CEO chuckled. Let's give it a second. System's still learning. Takahashi did not smile. He repeated, himself, same sentence slower. This time, deliberately including an idiomatic phrase that didn't exist in any literal dictionary. The AI offered, please eat the bitter bamboo slowly, or the bridge may fall. Silence. One of the VPs cleared his throat. The CEO laughed nervously. Takahashi adjusted his glasses. Then, in English, where is Daniel-san? The CEO blinked. I'm sorry? Takahashi didn't repeat himself. The third Japanese executive leaned, and we were told this system was more advanced. Reese tried to recover. Its early phase rollout, still optimizing contextual nuance. The fourth executive, one I hadn't met, spoke for the first time. You removed the human. Not a question. The CEO leaned forward, hands clasped. We've transitioned to a more scalable interface, more efficient, more modern. Takahashi tapped a single key on his laptop. A document popped up on the shared screen. It was a contract. Clause I recognized it. I'd written the first draft 3 years ago, and I'd buried one sentence deep in the cultural liaison agreement. In matters of linguistic representation, both parties must retain the right to request a named human intermediary previously engaged during initial negotiations, a safeguard, small, precise, forgotten by everyone except me. Takahashi pointed to it. This clause. We invoke it. The room on our side froze. The CEO looked to Reese. Reese looked down. The VP tried to interrupt. I'm sure we can clarify. Takahashi raised a hand, not rudely, just conclusively. We will reschedule. Then he ended the call. No wave. No goodbye. Just silence and disconnection. I leaned back in my chair, closed the relay dashboard. No smile. No satisfaction. Just breath. At 9:47, I got a text from Jonas. Did you see what happened? CEO looked like he swallowed glass. I didn't respond. At 10:13, another message. Someone asked about the clause. Said you were the last one to touch it. Still, I said, nothing. At 11:02, I received an email from an internal legal address I hadn't seen in months. Subject line. Follow up on earlier translation protocols. No greeting. Just a question. Is the clause enforceable? Can we still comply? I closed the email, didn't delete it, didn't answer, because this wasn't the win. This was just the echo, and they hadn't heard the full sound yet. At 11:35, the CEO gathered his team in the same conference room. This time, no cameras, no scripts, just red faces and thin voices. I watched from the corner hallway as Reese was questioned. Twice, then dismissed. He kept saying, the system wasn't trained for idioms. No one was listening. The CEO raised his voice, tried to blame the dialect. The culture. The stubbornness of the old-school partners. Someone pushed back. It was Ms. Lambert, Director of Strategic Relations, veteran, quiet. She looked at the CEO, arms crossed. You just stepped on something we spent a decade building. He didn't. Reply. At 12:06, the lights in the translation wing flickered once, old systems rebooting. I walked to my old office, empty again, no nameplate, just echo. From a bottom drawer I'd never emptied, I pulled out a folder, contract drafts, annotated notes, backup logs, all printed, all dated. I placed the clause copy in a new envelope. Plain, sealed it carefully. Back. At my apartment, I opened a blank email window, addressed it to no one yet. Just typed 3 words, "When you're ready." Then saved it in drafts and closed the laptop. Tuesday, 6:12 a.m. My apartment was quiet. Coffee brewed slow. No lights on except for the laptop glow. I opened the draft email. 3 words still sitting there. "When you're ready." I added 1 line below. Clause 14 remains valid. My availability is unchanged. Attached. The original contract, scanned, annotated, signed, by both parties, including one signature that mattered more than the rest. The CEO's. I sent it to Ms. Lambert. At 7:03, she replied with 2 words, "Understood, stand by." At 7:36, chaos broke upstairs. The board had seen the footage, the failed meeting, the clause Takahashi invoked. Legal tried to invalidate it. Outdated, someone said. Redundant, another added. But the timestamps were clean. The clause had been renewed last fiscal cycle, tied directly to a licensing restructure. All it needed was 1 signature. It had his. The CEO stormed into legal. How the hell did this happen? Lambert was there. "You signed it yourself." He froze. "I didn't approve that revision." She slid the document across the table. It wasn't a copy. It was the original. Pen strokes still visible. He looked at the footer. Finalized. Per executive review, C. Vardamont Ordontour, his own name. His own timestamp. Lambert didn't raise her voice. "You were too eager to push through AI integration. You ignored the annotations." I thought that was a formatting issue. She nodded once. It wasn't. At 8:17, my phone buzzed. "He wants to speak with you. Personally." I didn't reply. I just walked. At 8:42, I entered the building. Security didn't stop me. At 8:50, I was escorted to the upper executive wing. First time since the restructure. The hallway felt colder, quieter. They opened a door. He was waiting inside. The CEO stood alone at the window back to me. When he turned, his face was pale, jaw tight. Less polished than before. Shirt untucked at the hip. Something behind his eyes was unraveling. "Daniel," he began. "I think we got off on the wrong foot. I didn't sit. I didn't mean to undercut your work. We were under pressure. Everyone's pushing automation." I said nothing. "We can fix this. I'll authorize a consultancy role. Quiet, discreet, 6 months. You'd be the liaison, just for legacy clients." I opened my bag, removed the original contract, laid it flat on the table. Section 14, clause renewal. Signed by you. He squinted. "You held on to that?" "No, you sent it." "I just read it." He ran a hand through his hair. The confidence was cracking. "Okay, but this doesn't need to get messy. There's no reason to escalate." I met his eyes. There already was. His breath caught. I opened the last page. A footnote, 1 line in fine print. Renewal of this clause confirms executive awareness and acceptance of continued human oversight. He'd initialed it, hastily, probably without reading. He swallowed hard. "You could go public with this." I nodded. "Once. You could destroy me." I didn't answer. "You could take this to the press, leak it to shareholders, make this a disaster." I folded the document, placed it back in the envelope. I could. He waited. "But I won't." He blinked. "Why?" Looked at the window. The skyline was gray. A plane moved slow across the glass. "Because I don't need to win loud." I stepped to the door. Before leaving, I turned back. "Tell your team the clause stands. I'll take the call at 9. He didn't move. At 9 OG sharp, I was back in the conference room. A different one this time. Quiet, isolated. The screen lit up. Takahashi appeared. No small talk, no pleasantries. He spoke. I translated. Precisely, deliberately, word for word. 43 minutes. At the end, Takahashi looked at me. "You remain the bridge. Then he disconnected. No nod, no smile, just presence. After the call, no emails came, no applause, no press. Release, only a message from Lambert. Your advisory contract is approved, confidential terms, 6-month cycle, renewed by silence. I archived it. The CEO never contacted me again. He didn't need to. He knew. I could have leaked the transcripts, shared the recordings, forwarded the mistranslations, sent everything to the board or the media, but I didn't, because that would have been noise, and I don't fight with noise, I just wait, document, and deliver truth exactly where it hurts. Quietly, 3 weeks later. No title on the door. But every Monday 9 a.m. sharp the call came in. Takahashi never asked questions. He just spoke. Trusted that I would carry each word exactly as intended. Nothing more, nothing less. There was no contract on the website, no team photo, no announcement of my return. That was the deal. Invisible but present. I liked it that way. Mornings had a new rhythm. Wake. Brew coffee in the same steel press. 1 scoop extra now, let it sit, let it cool, no rush anymore. I'd sit at the table, by the window. Review a technical journal just for interest. Not for work, not for correction. Just understanding. Some afternoons I walked to the bookstore, picked up old dictionaries, compared editions, just to keep sharp. The silence was different now, not the kind that presses, the kind that holds. One evening, Takahashi sent a message. No subject, just a file. New draft, would value your eyes. He didn't say review, didn't say urgent, just value. I read every line, made 5 notes, sent them back, no reply, didn't need one. 3 days later, Jonas wrote again. They stopped calling it a system. Now it's a support layer. Sounds familiar. That was enough. I didn't respond. Some truths don't need echo. Yesterday, I passed the building, didn't go in, just watched from across the street. A new receptionist sat at the front desk. Young, attentive. She smiled at someone walking in. Wore the badge like it meant something. On the wall behind her, the company's slogan had changed. It no longer said, tomorrow, translated. Now it read, context is everything. They'd changed the words, but I knew where they came from. Inno. My coat pocket, I still carried the old nameplate, the kanji engraved 6 years ago, the one gift I'd never replaced. I walked across the street. Calm, deliberate. Stepped up to the stone ledge by the entrance, placed the nameplate down, centered. Didn't ring the bell. Didn't look around. Just walked. Halfway down the block, I paused, took a breath. The wind was cold again, sharp. But this time I wasn't bracing against it, I was part of it. He thought he replaced me with code. But presence isn't programmable. The gentleman's revenge isn't loud, but it's always personal. If this felt personal, make it personal. Subscribe now, and don't miss tomorrow's story.